Hi, everybody, and welcome to Darkwoods Paranormal. We're doing a little switch up tonight. Actually, you will notice very quickly that actually it's just me, Raven Knight, but not really just me. I'll introduce the other two in just a moment. Our wonderful friend Gabriel Von Graves is actually still out traversing in the Smoky Mountains, and so I don't know if he's looking for Bigfoot or what he's doing. I think he's looking for Bigfoot, honestly. But he is out in the Smoky Mountains, and so he is not here tonight. And also, we were doing our true crime Thursdays, but that's going to be on Sunday instead this week. So tonight, we are here for all things paranormal with what I'm actually calling you, and I don't know if you guys know it yet, but I'm calling you the Paranormal Power Couple.
I'll take it.
All right, I came up with that today. But I want to welcome you both to Darkwoods Paranormal for the very first time. Chris and Kelly, otherwise known as Traveler's Moon. They're hailing from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and they bring nearly 4 decades of experience to the field. Kelly is a gifted psychic medium whose connection to the paranormal has been lifelong. Her abilities have guided countless investigations and experiences. Chris is an author, a psychic, and a shamanic. See, I'm going to mispronounce that word. Sh-
Oh, you're
Shamanic.
pretty
Shaman.
much on it. Yeah, shamanic, yeah.
Right
Okay.
there. Right there.
Whew. All right, good. I was practicing earlier, but practitioner. He has devoted years to exploring both the scientific and spiritual sides of the unexplained. Together, they constantly are on the road, booked up until November of this year, and we'll talk a little bit about all the things they're doing. But they've been sharing their knowledge. They host events. They investigate haunted locations, and they bring ghost stories to life for audiences across the country. They don't just study the paranormal, they live it. Please welcome to the show, for the first time ever, Traveler's Moon.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
thank you. That was a
amazing.
great
Thank you.
introduction.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Well, welcome, you guys. I'm super excited that you are here. Um, we've only been talking about having you on the show for months now, so
Yeah,
it's good to have you here.
We
I'm so
appreciate you
excited.
having us.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed that Gabriel couldn't be here, but we know how it works,
Oh,
especially when
yeah.
you're
Yeah, that happens.
traveling all over the place, but he was pretty sad he couldn't be here as well. But
Just
so
means
he's
we have to do it
sending,
again. So,
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess we will. I guess we will. But let's first things first. I want to actually get to know you guys a little bit more, and let our audience get to know you as well. And I'm going to start with you, Kelly.
okay.
And from what I read, you grew up in a haunted house. And
Yeah.
I'm just kind of interested in how that shaped you. And let's talk about your experiences in your haunted house, but then how that actually shaped you to be where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was 10-ish, we moved across town in this little town in northeast Iowa. We moved into a house that wasn't even very old, built in 1937. And almost instantly from moving in, we just started hearing things, seeing things out of the corner of our eyes. But it was a new house, so you kind of brushed it off to nothing. Um, but I was 10 and I had my own bedroom for the first time and hardwood floors. It was gorgeous, beautiful room, house and room. But it started out for me that my mom would be yelling up the steps, Kelly, go to bed. It's past your bedtime, And I'm like, Mom, I'm in bed. And she decided she was going to catch me one night. She tell me all the time, I hear you up there walking around. I hear you sliding your chair back and forth across the floor. And I'm like, I swear to you, it's not me. So she decides she's going to catch me one night, creeps upstairs, flings the door open. I am sound asleep. So um, it would just be little stuff like that. It was nothing ever scary. It was like living with roommates that you couldn't see. And yet, roommates that had a sense of humor because we would make a comment of, oh, we haven't heard anything from the ghost for a while, and just systematically you'd see things be knocked off of a shelf, you know? Um, you'd see someone walk across a doorway that they couldn't walk across there technically because there was a couch in the way. They would have had to walk through the couch, but it was never really scary. And I was lucky enough that I grew up with a mom that also had an interest in the paranormal. So when we, as a family, started saying, "Hey, I'm experiencing this," they're experiencing that, um, we just kind of rolled with it and wanted to start learning more about it. Started out with the whole teenager going out and trying to scare the crap out of ourselves, but got serious about it late teens, early 20s, and really just wanted to start figuring out more of the why they're here, what they need, what they want, what's their stories. Yeah, it's kind of grown from there.
I was gonna say, is that something that like a lot of us teenagers did? Because like
I think
never see-
everybody does.
I
at
think a
some
certain
point, don't
sect
they?
of teenager, yeah, that's a definitely not an uncommon
I think even the
uh,
ones that don't like.
phenomena.
Yeah, and I think even for ones that don't like grow up to be ghost hunters,
Mm-hmm.
like it's just a kid thing. You go out and you walk through a cemetery to scare yourself, or you go up and you knock on the door of a spooky house. It's just
Oh yeah.
like maybe the same mentality that puts us walking through like the haunted houses, the haunted attractions. You know,
Little
It's the
adrenaline
thrill.
rush.
he thinks
Yeah,
it's mental
adrenaline
deficiency.
rush is good. Yeah. So okay, I just wanted to ask because I feel like I'm pretty sure
Oh, yeah.
I was doing that. I was doing that at 16, whatever, going to the haunted
Oh, yeah.
locations and having the seances. And I always, now that I admit this openly, I'm always like, sorry, mom and dad,
Yeah.
because they now think that their house is haunted. But
I remember
sorry.
playing a game probably 12, 13 years old. It's like reverse hide and seek. We called it sardines, where one
Okay.
person would go hide and everybody else had to go find them and hide with them when we found them. Our favorite place to do it was cemeteries. It's a great time.
That's great. Now, Chris, now let's talk a little bit about how did you get started in, all things paranormal, I guess?
Yeah, so it's it's one of those like honestly it does teeter on like cliche. Like I also grew up in a haunted house. In one of the houses anyway. So my uh, parents were separated and both of them worked a lot of hours. So my grandparents actually played a huge part in raising me on both sides of the family. But on my dad's side in particular, to this day, their house is one of the most haunted places I've ever been. And
Really?
I keep it in mind, I'm, over 17 years doing this, and I've adopted this idea that it's not what happened there because, like, it's got a long, kind of weird history to it. Constructed in the, like, kind of early-ish 1800s. It was a parsonage for the church next door. There was town rumor. It was a stop on the Underground Railroad, and there's, like, certain aspects of the house that actually lean into that a little bit. Um, but despite all that weird history, I think the part that like really got the interactions going was the fact that we just kind of treated them like an everyday thing. My, you know, grandma would always tell us like you can't take the dogs through the front door because they get weirded out. In this area you got to take them around back. Or if she would hang wind chimes in her kitchen and they'd be like flush up against the, cabinet so that like they're not blowing in the breeze or anything, but you would hear like somebody had just run their hand across all of them, and it wasn't that was nothing to be afraid of. That's just them saying hello. So I think the approach of this isn't really anything to be scared of led to me being a little more open to that, and henceforth them being a little more uh, open to interacting with us. And I had my first real big experience at the age of 8. I saw a little boy on the stairs of their house that obviously shouldn't have been there. It wouldn't have lingered with me as a long-term memory. But yeah, from there it just very much snowballed. I was probably 15 when my local library was doing like a big like shoving off a bunch of old books, and I happened on a bunch of old Hans Holzer books. And started reading
Huh.
through those, and this was around the time that like Ghost Hunters was really taken off as a TV show, and it's been this weird big snowball over the last creeping up on 20 years now, where I got into it because I was curious, and then I got into it like I was my roots are very much in the like technical aspect of it, whatever you want to call like the scientific
Sure.
the realm of the paranormal. But over the last 5-10 years or so, you hang out with weird people. You yourself get a little weird, so I don't know how to explain it sometimes, but I tell people I'm prone to seeing things, and I know I'm not schizophrenic because I can turn it on and off. And yeah, now we're on the road almost just as much as we are home, and
Yeah.
constantly going to weird places, doing what I'm sure the normal person would call weird stuff, and it's a good life.
I was gonna say, isn't it better though? Isn't it more fun to be on the weird side?
It's way less pressure. It's so much
It really
less
is.
pressure to have to just say, I'm weird, and just deal with it.
You know what? I've accepted it. Accepted it a long time ago. I think it's way
Mhm.
better on this end, you know?
That's right.
Um, so I want to actually ask you, so obviously you two are, I shouldn't say obviously, but you two are a married couple.
Where?
Yes.
Yeah, you're married, and you're doing this together. How did you find each other, and how did this come up in a, hey, let's go be paranormal investigators together? How did that happen?
Yeah. So
It's her fault,
it
really.
is my fault. It is. Well, we can blame mom. It could potentially be her fault. So my mom and I host these events throughout Iowa called the Psychic and Paranormal Expos, and 2013, I think we figured out.
Yeah, because it was not even 2014.
Somewhere in
Because
that
I was
time frame.
fresh off like filming my first like actual documentary.
Yeah, somewhere in that time frame. He signed up to be a vendor with his dad. At that time, he was on a team with his father, and they signed up to be one of the vendors at the expos. And we just kind of clicked, and we became good friends. And we'd go out and investigate every once in a while. And he'd been my best friend forever. We'd go out and I mean, he was like my go-to person to investigate with because we work well together. First off, I mean, he's got like the science brain. I've got more of the woo-woo brain, and we watch out for each other. And I think it's so important when you're investigating to have somebody that you can trust, somebody that's going to keep an eye out for you, and not just like make sure you're not attacked by those, supposed demons, but also make sure like you don't walk into a wall when you're walking around with your eyes closed, which I tend to do.
I've yet to succeed
So-
on that front, though.
It's dark. I mean, it's a challenge, but yeah, we were investigating together all the time, and one thing led to the next. And here we are. So yeah.
That's awesome. And so now we talked a little bit about how you guys go on the road a lot. Like I read it was 35 weeks out of the year that you're practically on the road.
Yeah, give or take.
Okay.
Depends on the
That's a-
year. This year was a little heavy.
Problem is, we're starting earlier than we used
Yeah.
to. We used to not get started good until like April, May timeframe, but now people know we're busy during that time, so they're trying to snag us like in January and February too. But
So yeah, 35 is probably close to the average. Whether it's going out and doing, you know, just filming for our YouTube channel, or going out to, a Paracon, or we host usually 6 to 10 public investigations a year, mostly around the Midwest. We've gone as far as New York for those though,
Yeah.
and it's
Okay.
uh, yeah. Outside of that, like it seems like the only weekends we really have off are holidays or weekends we especially set aside for
yeah.
friends and family stuff.
Well, and even that, half the time when we're getting together with our friends and family, like last
It is
God,
spooky
was that
stuff.
just last weekend?
Yeah.
Last weekend, it was my mom's birthday, and that's why we were at Lemp Mansion, is we'd booked Lemp Mansion for her because she'd never spent the night there before. So even when we're doing something with family and friends, we
It's-
kind of lean towards doing something
Yeah.
a little spooky. So yeah,
That's funny because like every time that I would ever like go on vacation before I started doing this, like it was always like find the haunted place, find
oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
place that you can go check out. And now we're actually like investigating things. But even in the past, just it always is. Where's the cool places to go see? And cool places to me are like the
Cool, and even like weird places. Like we were just on a trip
Yeah.
recently, and like we didn't know what we wanted to do. We just knew we didn't want to go home yet. So like you hop on like Atlas Obscura, and like
Oh.
see what's nearby.
yeah.
And that landed us at like a cheese castle and a questionable oddities shop. But
yeah.
uh, no, it's
Every once in a while, it
it's
leads us astray, and we have to regroup and decide if that was a good decision.
but it's almost never normal stuff.
No.
the closer we get to normal stuff is I have a proclivity for breweries and distilleries, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair though. But they're haunted breweries and distilleries, right?
it's, we found our share.
I mean, I think, yeah, we stumbled upon them just by happenstance. But yeah, we've had some really cool ones. Like, some of them are just in these really, really cool buildings. And then, like, it's double good because he gets to check out one of the breweries and I get to look at the old building.
Sure.
It's a good time.
So I do want to obviously talk about, I mean, we're all here because we're paranormal investigators, but I want to talk about some of your most memorable cases. If you can maybe, and we can go with like 3 of them or something, but I want to have you guys just tell me one is, I guess, one of your most memorable cases that you, I guess, it kind of stopped you and maybe changed some of what you thought you knew about the paranormal. We'll start there and then we'll.
Yeah,
Even
so
take discussion.
we had a book come out this year.
Yeah.
Um, because last August we had a investigation that, so we had our film schedule for 2024 out, and this place was the second to last stop in what would have been a, God, 15-part series.
I was gonna say it's quite a bit.
And we had to redo our whole, like, how are we releasing things for the coming year, and managed to crank out an entire book in 6 months, which I know there's some people out there in the ether that's not an
They're
impressive
like 6
feat.
months. It took you 6 months.
Uh,
No, you don't
but-
understand. we take.
Uh,
I think it's good.
yeah, it was last August, so actually we're just 10 days removed from a year ago. We investigated the Fairfield County Infirmary.
Yeah.
And for the first time in either of our, I don't know if you want to call it careers, because career implies a
Paycheck.
paycheck. For the first time in the duration of either of us doing this, we had the very real talk with our other person of, hey, do you think they'll let us pick up our shit in the morning?
Like, do we have contact information? If we just walk away, can we get back in and get it? Is it worth it? Do we care?
Right. Okay.
It was. We don't know.
So
we
what-
don't know,
I guess-
But like, yeah.
Yeah.
It
What happened that?
Well, buy the book.
That's
Oh.
his favorite answer.
That's like a little teaser of what.
The funny thing was, it started out so innocently.
Yeah,
Like,
but not like small either, though. It was very innocent.
but it wasn't small. Like, our thing started honestly before we ever got in the door. Like, because we're both sick, we couldn't figure out how to get into the building, which, who knows?
Pretty par for the course with us. If you spend any
Yeah.
time with us, there's a certainty, but like we don't totally know what we're doing.
Pretty much ever. But we're sitting out in the car thinking, well, we're just waiting for somebody to show up to let us in. And we both heard music. Like, looked at each other and we're like, did you hear that? And not like, current top 40s chart music.
No, it was like an older flute music,
Yeah.
which this probably sounds weird, but it's not very out of character for us. So naturally, we both checked our phones.
Yeah, because we both
To
heard
make
it
sure
before.
that neither
Yeah,
one of us
yeah.
were playing anything. But yeah, no, the entire investigation, like, had things not gone like sideways like they had, still probably to me would have been one of my
Oh,
top 5-10 investigations ever.
yeah.
Really?
We had situations of like, I think a lot of people out there are familiar with like the cat toys being used on investigations these days. And honestly, one of my favorite pieces of kit, but it always seems like they just light up, like it's just the vibration
Randomly. Yeah.
setting off.
Mhm.
And like she watched one roll
Oh, yeah.
a decent
So,
distance.
see, I have a good time picking on him, and this is kind of where we're at. Like, we were sitting in one of the rooms, and I use him as bait. And I'm like, you see that big burly guy sitting over there? If you knock one of those dolls that he loves out of the window, he'll scream like a little girl. Well, they didn't drop the doll, unfortunately, but they did take the cat ball, and I watched it roll and go back. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I mean,
But like wild stuff. Like we were investigating with there's a NCPD's ParaREM, so an REM pod EMF detector hybrid, and for 1 hour and 6 minutes we had a what to my mind is like a hyper intelligent yes no
Yeah.
conversation. Like we
Mhm.
we got to know this guy, and it wasn't like there were a ton of questionable blips in this session. It was, can you give me one for yes, two for no, and the yeses were on point. The nos were crisp and precise.
and it really wasn't making noise in between questions. And like even at one point, we're like, okay, just we need to make sure this isn't just randomly going off. Don't make any
Right.
noise. And it made absolutely nothing. We're like, okay, are you still there?
And like for
Beep.
2 minutes, not
You know.
for
Yeah, it wasn't like for 2 seconds. We're
Yeah.
like, for 2 minutes, we're gonna wait. Absolutely no sound, nothing. And we're like, are you still there? Beep, right away. It's like, okay, this is phenomenal. So yes, had the night ended there, it still would have walked out of there going, this is
Yeah.
this is at the top of
Excellent,
the list.
but-
This is amazing. But it didn't end there.
something during that session showed up, and we aren't those investigators to be like, oh shit, it's a demon.
Uh-huh.
Like, to this day, I don't even want to call it demonic in nature because, I mean, if you really believe the literature, demons don't haunt places, they haunt people, but that's a whole theological debate for another day. But
Mhm.
whatever showed up was not good, and it had some juice. It's, going back and this is another kind of weird aspect of all of it. At least in my time, I found that we as investigators get one of two things. We get a very interesting finding, or we get one hell of a story.
Mhm.
And typically it's not both. And I think sometimes when it's one hell of a story, it's stuff that's more meant for us.
Like something just happened, but you just shut your camera off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Where nothing's working.
Oh, yeah. Nothing's working, but like, you're like,
And then all the stuff's, yeah.
But this wasn't the case.
but this wasn't the case. We got both. And to go back over and watch it as the guy that's, not just reviewing footage, but also trying to piece it together. It's not too hard to piece it together because, quite frankly, I keep going back to the word cinematic. Everything was too freaking cliche.
Perfectly scary.
Like, if I were to write a fiction paranormal investigator, like, horror book, it probably wouldn't seem exactly like this, but there's a lot of aspects, a lot of, like, almost poetry to it all that I would definitely include.
And it just kind of kept growing is the part of it. Like, whatever this thing was, it wanted us to know it was there. And it wanted us to be scared. And it wanted us to know that it was powerful. And it just kept up in its game. And I mean, we had already made the decision, we're done, we're leaving, we're gonna get out of the building. And they took it up a notch still.
Wow.
And
And
it's like,
I don't even think it gives a whole lot of weight. But there was a point where, like, we had hit like that breaking point of, okay, it's time to go. We're packing our ship, and up to this point we had been under the illusion that the lights were our safe space, and like it literally shut the lights out on us, not like turned them
after
off,
a
like
very personal attack.
took the
I mean,
lights away.
not like a physical attack, but there was
Yeah.
something that happened that was ridiculously personal. And it was absolutely my breaking point. It was absolutely my breaking point, and the lights go out at the same time, and it's like, I'm done.
And we
Done.
gotta go.
And from
Yeah.
the sciencey brain guy sort of things too, like to go back over this footage, I'm seeing like not necessarily like visual anomalies, but like technical problems as far as like timing and even the phenomena itself that like I can't explain. I'm hearing some of the most crisp and like relevant, highly intelligent to the point of like they're giving information they shouldn't EVP that like I have ever heard.
Like, they should know this information, so how are we getting an EVP that says that, you know?
Sure.
And like, after he was, I mean, even if, again, even if the story stopped there, but wait, there's more, you know? Like, he's home and he's doing the review, and I happen to have been gone that night, and I come in the house and he's almost manic. Like, he's, Kelly, I need you, I need to talk to you, I need to show you something. I'm like, dude, take a breath, you know? Because I was on the phone. It was kind of an
Actually, I
important phone
felt terrible.
Yeah, someone had
I
just lost a family member, and I was.
And I was like, hang up the phone. Whatever's going on is definitely more important than what you're talking about.
Yeah,
No.
which it was okay. I was almost done, and she's part of the family. She gets it, but still. But I mean, he starts showing me the things that we caught.
And things going on like floors separate from each other, syncing up.
This camera
Too
connecting
well.
to this camera, connecting to this audio, and it's like,
Mhm.
this is not okay. It was so much worse than we realized, and we were scared out of the building. We were scared out of the building, and it was worse than we knew. You know, it's
Wow.
like,
And this is
That's-
where Ghost Hunter is a personality disorder because
Yeah.
we're very excited to go back next year and try to recreate
Yeah.
this entire situation.
yeah, because we're
I was
broken.
gonna
This-
And when are you going back?
So we actually have been back there once since this
Yeah.
happened, because we attended Adam Kimmel's FCI Con in
June?
June,
July?
I don't
July.
know. He tried to melt us. This is what I remember. It was
I remember the
hottest
sunburn.
day of the year. We thought we were going to die, not because of the building this time, but because of the weather. But we did go back, but we didn't like go in and do.
So yeah, the plan
Investigating
is
story,
next August to book it up and get as close as we can to recreating
Recreating.
everything start to finish. Just because like
Okay.
what I'm not totally convinced that this would even happen again. Like
Yeah.
and what were those circumstances that led to this perfect storm of like all of this shit? And even if like we have the same correct like energy going into this, if
The
I wanted
sheer
to be
fact that we've
cerebral,
experienced it,
like
yeah.
because this whatever we interacted with was insanely like cerebral is the word I like going back to. Very intelligent, very
Mm-hmm.
intentional about movements. And you know what I would do to screw with people like us going back for closure? I wouldn't do a goddamn thing.
Yeah. But even if we try, I mean, unless we go on a Sunday and it happens to be the same moon cycle and the same weather and the same everything else, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. What was it about that night? And we talked to Adam Kimmel about this when we were there. Like, we could try to recreate it as best as possible, but even if it was exactly the same, there's no guarantee that
Mhm.
it's going to happen again. It could have just been the chemistry that we were having that night.
Oh,
Or,
sure.
I mean, I don't know. And it could have just been we were at the right place at the right time, and it'll never
I was
happen
gonna
again.
say, don't you sometimes feel like when you or if you go back to a place and it doesn't exactly recreate, that just gives more credibility to what you experienced the first time? You know, like
I would
'cause
definitely
if you were
agree.
in a place and it just like it was always active, right? This is at least our theory. If you're in a place and it's always active and you're always getting these certain things, that could just mean it could be something else, like something natural occurring that you're catching versus. But if you're at a place and one time it's active and then the next time it's nothing,
Yeah.
I mean that could mean that what you're experiencing when you experience it is actually valid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that that makes sense, right? Because if we're talking about what we're dealing with, it's people that have ditched the meat suit, right? It's people that are just transitioning. People are a finicky, messy thing, and we're never consistent, and we are just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. I would assume it's exactly the same for them. And as a person that does his best to understand people, to me that makes perfect sense. As the guy who's a documentarian and tries to add a little bit of validity to this field, God, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
I also, that's interesting that you were talking about how the shift in this place was because you were talking about like at first there was some music and you're getting intelligent stuff, but
Yeah.
it sounded like somewhere in there the air shifted.
Oh, 100%. And we knew when it happened because prior to that, we're talking to this guy that's there, and the sweetest guy in the world. I mean, I talked to Chris. I'm like, you know how everybody always asks us if something follows us home. I kind of want to take this one home with me. He's just sweet, you know. And like, there was a point in the evening that the energy just shifted, and it felt like the room started
We-
closing around us. And
Yeah, we hit a point in the investigation where we heard footsteps above us,
Mhm.
and I, call it intuition, call it what you will, but I'll say all three of us, me, Kelly, and whoever we were
Guy that
interacting
we're
with,
talking to.
all felt that these weren't good footsteps.
Because he started reacting
Mm.
different too. This guy that we had been talking to very intelligently for a decent amount of time at this point, he started responding different too. And it wasn't that he wasn't still responding intelligently, but it was tenser. I don't know how to explain it other
Quiet.
than that. Quicker than it was, instead of that quick little beep response, it's like beep. It's like, okay, you're not okay. What you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, it was just the energy shifted, and
That
then
is-
it shifted again, and it wasn't good. It was not good.
We've been in a couple of places where that's been the case, where, or sometimes it's like you walk in, you're like, okay, this place feels like there's something. But then
Oh,
it
yeah.
shifts to the opposite way, like where it's all of a sudden
Mhm.
now it's just kind of quiet and different, but not in like a malevolent or darker way.
Yeah,
It's just different.
It's
yeah.
just
Different
different.
doesn't mean bad. It
You
just
can
means
feel it.
different.
and I think I talked about that in our Renwick documentary, because there's this mansion in Davenport that we had the good fortune of being able to go investigate and do a documentary at. It was during COVID, so they were closed down, and we knew the owners, and they're like, hell yeah, you can come in. But I used to go stay there all the time, and I'd spend the night there by myself. It's not a scary location. It's gorgeous, big, beautiful limestone mansion top. It's so pretty, so pretty. And I'm not scared of it. I mean, it's like I said, I'd stay there by myself. But there was that during that weekend that we were there, it just
It
got
just felt different.
it felt different. Like I had to go do something, and I was not comfortable walking downstairs and grabbing whatever it was I was after by myself. I still did it,
Hmm.
but I found myself just kind of really, watching over my shoulder and just, not that I felt in danger. They never would hurt anybody who's there.
Yeah.
The spirits that are at that location are not dangerous at all, wouldn't harm anybody, but it was just more uncomfortable. I don't know.
It's
And
like,
it's
yeah,
not
where do you
really
sense?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's like you definitely sense
Yeah.
the difference and
Yeah.
what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And when it's something as like, imperceptible as trying to pick up, just the vibrations of a person you can't see, like we go into a room, we're not just picking up on people's actual energy, we're also able to read body language, and that's a nice like little secondary cue. When you're just going off that energy, if there's a change compared to what you're used to, it's like, oh, what's happening here? And there's just this like almost kind of heightened sense of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
to it.
Yeah.
Um,
But then you also have those buildings that you walk into and they're just kind of ick.
it's
from
the same
beginning.
every time, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't tend to change. It's just kind of ick. So you go outside every once in a while, reset, and
Touch a little grass.
go back in, do it again,
Yeah.
because we're
Well-
effective.
And that's an interesting thing because you just said touch a little grass, and that kind of brings me to the grounding part of it. And you're going into these places, and you do get that ick. Like when we left the Sally house, I know we were like, okay, we literally had to do this. We were like, brush it off, like ground ourselves, pray afterwards, because we were like very much felt
Yeah.
the energy still on us. So that being said, like, what do you both do? You're in these places all the time. What is your way of like, I guess, grounding yourself afterwards, or how do you protect yourselves from these kinds of places?
I'll let him answer, but I'll tell you, the Sally House cracks me up that you said that, because it's one of the places that I did have to step outside multiple times. And at one point in the evening, I needed to just get a little bit further away from the house. I went across the street to that beautiful mansion, and I was laying out in their yard at like 2:30 in the morning. I'm thinking, if they look out their window, I'm going to jail.
Or they're just used to
I'm
that at
just
this
laying
point. Like,
there.
there's
Gotta
another
be
one of
used to
them
that at
laying
this
out there in the
point.
yard.
Maybe, but
No, as far as grounding, honestly, I think we're different, so I don't think we can have the same answer there. But for me, it is very earth based. I gotta go out. I gotta touch grass. I've gotta hug a tree or something. I've gotta remind myself of the tangible. I guess if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and some of it does come from like my my spiritual belief. So I don't even know what you would call me. I think
Weird.
the blanket term is pagan, but it's definitely not structured. So I was, I don't even say Shanghaied or whatever, but back in 2018, 2019, a very good friend of mine by the name of Coyote Chris Sutton, who was a shamanic practitioner, practiced a Siwis medicine tradition, which is a indigenous American tradition of the Pacific Northwest. He and I were working the same event, and it was one of Kelly's. And I was definitely useless to her the rest of the night, but he did like an opening ceremony, and it involved the drum. And like, I don't know how to describe what happened to me afterwards. All I know is I was glued to a cedar tree for the rest of the night. I was just kind of hooked to this tree, and I just felt good around it, and I didn't want to leave it, so I wasn't helpful in the actual investigation. But over the years, he, kind of took me under his wing in that aspect, and shamanism can be its whole other, podcast of itself. But to oversimplify, it's a not even necessarily a spiritual belief, but a series of techniques and practices that comes from a animistic spiritual viewpoint. So that this concept that everything around us has spirit. So for me, grounding definitely just means getting back in touch with something that's not out in the ether. It's going out, taking my shoes off, walking through the grass, hugging a tree or something. If I have my drum with me, it's playing a little drum. It kind of fluctuates for me as far as what grounding goes.
Maybe I am just weird. So mine's so much more basic than that because I started having abilities. Well, I've had abilities since I was born, but they came back with a vengeance like early teens. And at that time I had to start learning how to protect myself and how to like not feel or be influenced by the energies that were around me. So I just learned fairly early in life like how to disconnect myself from everything. And I think in the big picture of things, that's what I'm doing. Whether I step outside from the building, sometimes I need a little bit bigger bubble. I have to be further away from whatever it is that I'm feeling. But I think that's all I'm doing really, is that I'm stepping away from whatever the situation is, putting my bubble up so I can breathe where nothing can really get to me at that point, where it's just me, my energy, and whatever energy I choose to allow, until I'm ready to experience again, and then I pull that down a little bit.
And that is a fantastic point, though, because everybody's like, I don't know if it's a pride thing or what happens, but I think people just assume if they're in these uncomfortable situations, they have to stay there.
No.
But say, hypothetically, you go out to a bar and you've got somebody actually being hostile to you. The best way to prevent a fight is to just not partake in the fight, to walk away. That's the smartest move. You have nothing to prove by potentially hurting yourself or somebody else. Your best move is just remove yourself from the situation. And I don't know if that's just a pride thing with some people. I don't know if it came from this old mantra of we've been locked in a location for X amount of hours, and that just turns into this precedent that people have set in their own minds. But no, that's a fantastic point. That's the number one way to do it, right? Is to create space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yet you have to find that line, because even as you're saying that, I'm thinking, well, we don't always do that. 'Cause
No.
something will happen and we go running towards
It can't be the biggest.
instead of running away from it, because otherwise, you're never gonna. You're there to experience things, but
It's very much trusting your intuition about it. It's
It is.
I was thinking Gracie, like,
Mhm.
because there's some things that I know that it's more than I want to interact with. There's we go to Malvern Manor all the time out in western Iowa, and there's a spirit there that she is not a great fan of females. She does not like me. Loves him.
and that's part of the dynamic.
Yeah, and that's, yeah. So like, we don't interact. I don't go in her room. I don't try to interact with her. I give her her space. It's a respect thing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna leave you alone if you leave me alone. Well, somebody decided last time we were there that Kelly had to go in her room.
It was the only available room. We were with a
Yeah.
relatively large group, and it was one of the few
It
ones
was one of the
free.
few ones that was open, and like, I went in, but I knew I shouldn't have been there.
And that was another one that was really fascinating because actually I'm just re-editing this whole investigation for our YouTube channel, and like the obvious like messing with you that occurred that weekend was wild. Um, like REM pods going off strategically timed, or
Mm-hmm.
actually there was a like electric candle that we weren't even told it was like aware that it was in the room, and it turned itself on
Right behind my head.
right behind her head right after I offered to leave the room for a minute to go get her a chair.
Because,
Uh-huh.
Gracie. Yeah.
Sweet
so
lady.
I didn't stay in the room long, and that's okay. That's okay. You two can have your little relationship.
I
I'll
don't
stay
want
out of it.
I have to ask you, like, because I know that you are a medium, and that's you, Kelly, and then Chris, you're a psychic, right? So
I-
where do you say that you, I saw a face, so.
No, it's
Um,
I always have a hard time taking that label because I don't. First of all, I don't know if like because psychic implies somebody special, and
No, it doesn't.
I think we all have this. It's just how open you are to it,
mm,
and if
Titles are weird.
even for me personally, like I don't know, maybe for me personally, because like I have a hard time shutting off the logic brain,
No,
Sure.
but I also know I can't ignore some
no,
of my
I think it's a thing
personal
because even
experiences.
as long as I've done it, when somebody's like, "Oh, you're a psychic," it's like, "Well, I mean, I am," but it's uncomfortable to say, "Yeah, look at me, I'm a psychic." You know?
Right. But how does that, I guess I wanna just touch on how that affects you, like when you're going into a place and doing an investigation, do you feel like you are able to pick up on more than, let's say, somebody else, you know, does, and how does that really change the way that you investigate?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going into the locations, it comes to me in a lot of different ways. Sometimes I just get like flashes of what the building looked like, or flashes of the people who are there or were there. And like when I'm doing the investigations, I'm using the equipment as well, but like they're still just talking to me too. And we were just talking about this because he was reviewing the Malvern Manor, or no, we were talking about being at length. Because we were talking about, I had been doing an Estes session and just some of the information that was coming through,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, I was talking to a female. And he's like, well, you can't really pay attention to the voice that's coming through because it's a program. And I'm like, no, I didn't mean that. It wasn't what I was hearing with my ears. I know I was talking to a female,
Mhm.
which I don't know that anybody else necessarily, well, there's others, obviously, but like, if you weren't tapped into it, I don't know that anybody else would have picked up that they were talking to a female, but that's where the two things merge for me. And sometimes I have to take a step back and think, okay, did I see that or did I see that? Did I hear
Mhm.
it or did I hear it? And so there's times that he'll ask me when I'm saying, hey, this is what I experienced. He's like, well, how did you experience it? I'm like, oh shit. I don't know. I'm like, I'm not sure, to be very honest. And that is probably the hardest thing about it, is that when I'm experiencing something, it's quite often just as real to me as if it's really happening, that it doesn't
Mhm.
register to me that it's not. If that sounds really stupid.
It
That was
doesn't,
not the
though.
sentence that made any sense.
No, I think it made sense. I think it made some sense.
Yeah, no, I think. Yeah, for me, it's just almost kind of a reminder, because as somebody who went in going for more of the, I guess, technical approach to this, paranormal phenomenon, it was, what people were, observing, and I was going out to try to find a way to prove it with, pen, paper, and an EMF detector back in the day. I think now, being that I'm, picking up on more of this, and maybe it's valid, maybe it's not, but I think at the end of the day, what it does is it very much humanizes the experience for me, and it makes me remember that I'm interacting with people, and these are, people that deserve our, respect, our sympathy, our love that we would give to like any other person. And I don't know if it's made me a better investigator as far as like the black and white, I need data kind of investigator, but I think it makes me a better investigator as a person. And in the grand scheme of things, that's what I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
and
in the
it's-
long run, like you saying that is really important to remember, because I think that people go into these places and they just want to get evidence, or they just want to, get something. And so they go in and they provoke, and they can be very rude, and they forget that you're 100% right there, Chris, that in the long run, were people. These people had feelings. These people, this is their house that they lived in, or wherever you're at, right? And I think people do forget that
that you're
these
still
were
dealing
Yeah.
with a person.
People
Yeah.
forget that if you go into a place, and I'm not going to list a place, but if you go into a place where, say, I don't know, several children were killed with, a axe or blunt force object, they don't want to remember the worst night of their life if they remember it at all. They want to just keep being kids if they're still there at all. And there's
Yeah.
no good thing, there's no benefit to,
Well, and we
capitalizing on a tragedy because you've dehumanized the people that were
they were
there.
still humans, and they were still
Yeah.
children. Yeah.
And it's unnatural interactions sometimes too. We talk about this like during our events or when we're doing presentations. I'm not gonna walk into a room the first time that I'm meeting somebody and go, "What's your name?" You don't talk to people.
Well, I mean, you
like
would,
that.
but you'd be a little more
You
gentle
don't
on the
talk
on
to
the
people
phrasing.
like that. You walk into a room and you're like, "Hey, I'm Kelly. What's your name?" It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
talk to them like you're talking. It's a conversation. Don't focus on the bad. They don't want to talk about, did you see him swing the axe? No, they want to talk about what was your favorite holiday? What games did you like to play?
Yeah, what was your favorite color? What
Yeah.
toys did you like to play with?
Did you pick on your sister?
Yeah. It's we had a conversation with Dustin Perry at one point too, and he said the same thing. Like, you don't go into a place and you're not gonna say, "How did you die?" or "Were you murdered?" or whatever. Well, like, that's just rude, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
people don't. Yeah. Nobody
And
wants
there's
to
gonna be times.
live in that.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be times that you're asking questions just to help. Maybe they want to tell their story. They may
Mhm.
want to, but
Sure.
let them drive that
Let them.
conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even if it's maybe not one of those things, it's it doesn't come from a place of malice. So I'm thinking of we investigated a old jail back a couple of years ago, and there was I guess for lack of better phrasing, I don't know if this will meet your video, but a serial killer that had spent time in one of the cells there, and it was I didn't mean to be rude, but I started hitting the questions of like how did you even wrap your mind around what you did, and it wasn't supposed to be a provocative question, but
Mhm.
it's almost like a question like an interviewer would ask somebody that's going to actually like meet somebody. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be provocative about it. I was really just trying to wrap my mind around something like that.
This is
Yeah.
the weirdness of our life. So you started telling the story, and for the life of me, I wasn't sure what you were gonna talk about, and then you started talking about a jail cell with a serial killer, and I'm like, oh, I know what he's talking about, and then I realized you weren't talking about Squirrel Cage Jail, I'm like, Jesus
I was
Christ,
talking
we
about
are
Squirrel
not.
Cage Jail.
I thought you were talking about Shara.
No, I was talking about Squirrel Cage.
See, I still didn't know which one he was talking
No,
about.
because only one of them was an actual serial killer.
Oh, that's true, I guess. Okay, so I was right on the first one. We still are not normal people.
Let's talk a little bit about, I mean, you just mentioned some places that you've been. I want to hear a couple other places that you've been. Like, could you just I know that you've been all over, so give us like a rundown of maybe some of your favorite locations and maybe what you've gotten out of them. Besides the one that you're going to tell us the title of the book for, because we all need to buy the book.
Yeah.
Besides that one, what?
So the book, before we forget, is What Happened in Lancaster, and it is available on Amazon or through our website if you want a signed copy. So just before.
Well, now we all need it, so just so we know. I do not read books, but now I'm so intrigued that I think I have to.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
It was a night, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know, I could almost feel like I rattle this off Mad Lib style, and it'd be really weird. So like I've spent nights running around the San Pedro River Valley looking for La Llorona, Waverly Hills Sanatorium in
Ohio
Louisville,
State
Kentucky, which is,
Reformatory.
those are very low hanging fruits. Like that's
Mm.
like, oh, it's on everybody's radar, but like for me, Waverly Hills was like one of the big
Oh,
exciting
Did we
ones.
lose sound?
I don't think so.
Okay, it just got really quiet, so I'm making sure we didn't lose sound.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Like Waverly Hills Sanatorium was like low hanging fruit, but for me, I was fascinated by the place for 10, 15 years before I actually get to go there. So that was a big one on
Pennhurst was a big one for me. That was just me though. Sorry.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic
So
Asylum
cool.
was for me, a fascinating one from, I don't know, almost like a sympathetic angle. So for me, like, mental illness and just overall, caring for people like that runs very deep with me, and it was a very cool opportunity to hang out with, but also I got like a lot of cool like personal experiences, like with no proper direction or telling us where we were at. I was starting to get like a pain right here, and we find out this is the room they did like well over 200 lobotomies.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But
Yeah, and it's all, it's always a good time when you're with one of the people who work in the building and they get scared. But,
Yes.
because we were up on the 4th floor of the building.
yeah, it would have been the alcoholics wing, the opposite end of the buildings than narcotics.
And it would have been originally where like staff used to live. And so we were taking the paranormal tour. You either have to take history or paranormal. And so we're up on the 4th floor and our guide was awesome. She's like, we don't have to hurry. We've got time. So, I mean, she let us kind of hang out on the 4th floor a little bit and do a little bit of investigating. And we'd been there for a little bit. We hear the next group coming up the steps, a bunch of footsteps and a bunch of people coming up the steps. And I turned to look at the tour guide and I'm like, we gotta go, right? And I see her looking over the stairways kind of going, I'm like, there's people coming up the steps. She's like, I'm like, that's the next group, right? There's no other group. She's like, I'm the only paranormal guide. I'm like, so it's the history group.
Wow.
She's like, the history group doesn't come here. And all of us heard it. Like, there were people coming up those steps. There were people coming up those steps, 100%. But
it's a hard one to
Edinburgh's a
pin
big
down.
one for us.
Edinburgh Manor's a huge one for us because it's a location we visit probably at least
Half a
5,
dozen
6, 7
times,
times
yeah.
a year. But a place that always has like big interactions. For me, it's deeply personal. So the first book I ever wrote was about the time I spent 5 days there alone back in 2013, and probably the
What?
hindsight being 2020, it was a
Yeah.
shit idea.
It was pre-Kelly.
Wouldn't recommend it. But
So
it was
Are
also
you
one of
telling me
the
that Chris does random things that might be questionable?
questionable. Oh yeah, it's pretty much
Raven
my
does
MO.
too.
Yeah.
Raven does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, very questionable. but like for me, one of the most deeply personal investigations I think I've ever had. Um, and sometimes for me, the ones that aren't like some of the bigger investigations we have aren't even like the investigations themselves, but the locations we've got to spend enough time with to really like develop a relationship with. Like there's a place down in southeast Iowa we go called the Mason House Inn, which is, I know everybody when they think of the paranormal, they want this like spooky, scary, kind of faux testosterone filled machismo behind it, but it is this charming little steamboat inn on the Des Moines River in Iowa, and it feels exactly like walking into Grandma's house.
Yeah. And there's a place like in Nauvoo, Illinois. It's a Cambry house, and again, it's just this.
It's the same
It's
feeling.
the
You can't
cutest
make
little
it
cottage
spooky.
out in the middle of nowhere that.
And I don't want to
it's
make either
very
of these
active.
things spooky.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in my brain that not
Yeah.
only is the house haunted, but so is the land.
Yeah, the Cambry House has given us some of our best like
Oh yeah.
to-date physical footage we've ever seen. We were doing actually to this day, probably one of the best Estes Method sessions we've ever
yeah.
done. And I'm the one that's under at the time,
Definitely, yeah.
and I've got a
It's a
shirt on with
sweater.
like a
It is a
drawstring.
sweater. It is not a hoodie.
It was actually a shirt. It was a long sleeve shirt with
Oh,
a
was it
hood.
that one? Sorry, I thought it was the one we already knew about.
And it had drawstrings on it, and you can see in the footage it looks like somebody came up and went, and like the drawstring comes back up and almost hits me in the face.
We had another investigator with us sitting in the next bedroom, and she's like, "That just moved."
And actually, it was weird because during the Estes Method session, she's like, "Did you see that? That just moved." And I got through that. Yeah, I saw it, or yeah, I did something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I
Yeah,
actually
I don't
say
remember
during
exactly,
these
but
things.
like basically acknowledging, "Yep, that just happened."
But then she realizes, like, oh, he can't hear me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so hard because there's so many places and they're good for different reasons. you know,
Sure.
Because it's like, if you want to have the crap scared out of you, Cambry's not the place to go. But if you want to go have just a good, wholesome investigation where you can lay down at night and sleep without being worried that you're going to have your pants scared off you, Cambry's great. It's,
Sure.
I don't know.
There's been a lot at this point. And even
Ohio
prior,
is cool.
Ohio State Reformatory is up there on our lists.
That was a cool
Um,
experience. I don't
Even
know.
prior to this, we were doing like house calls individually.
Okay.
Prior to really getting into more of the content creation, I think we both got out of the like house call aspect for
Yeah.
different reasons. But
But I
Some
mean,
of
it was
that from-
what?
what's that?
I was gonna say you guys have like what, close to 40 years of experience, like to combined, right? So
Yeah.
And
I'm
only
sure
the
you
last 5 have been together.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you just have like lists and lists of places that you've
Oh, gosh.
investigated.
Well, and there's so many that we've gone to that it's like, we're not saying they're bad by any means, but it's like, we kid, when someone's like, "Ooh, what's your favorite location?" It's like, that's like saying which one is your kids is the favorite.
Which kid is your favorite?
You can't do that. There's too many. There's too
Sure.
many.
How about we go in the
Renwick is
opposite?
fun.
End?
Renwick is gorgeous. Oh. Anyway, sorry.
Is there a place that you haven't investigated yet that you would love to go and check out?
Edinburgh Falls.
Yeah. So first of all, you need to say that correctly while we're there.
Edinburgh.
Amongst our like bigger like travel stuff, next year over most of the month of September we'll be touring the UK, and yeah, a big part of that is making sure we get
I'm a
some
little
proper
jealous.
investigations in.
Oh, I'm so
Uh,
stupid excited.
so it probably won't be investigations, but like she's like super excited to get into the Tower of London.
I am, but I'm not.
Which is a huge source of
I am.
contention in the relationship
But I'm not.
because one of the two of us has already been there. But
Stop talking. It's fine.
yeah, no, we plan on doing like even if it's So from what I understand and from what I've found, ghost hunting in the UK is different. If there's anybody out there in the world that could help expedite this process, please let us know. Um, but it almost seems like certain teams control certain locations, and like if you don't get in with them, you need like a permit or something. But we're at the very least gonna do some of the bigger ghost tours at the Edinburgh Vaults. There's an old prison outside of Aberdeen in Scotland that
Old Rams.
we're actually looking at
Cool.
a overnight at the old Rams Inn. Yeah, it's the big old UK tour. That's
Oh, that is so amazing. That's so amazing. I'm happy for you guys. That would be super fun.
it's a long overdue honeymoon.
Yeah.
Even the honeymoon was ghost hunting. I love that for
Well,
you.
you know, and we're gonna hit Loch Ness, of course.
Oh yeah,
We're gonna-
so that's you got the cryptids in there.
yeah, we gotta try
Oh,
to
of
see if we-
course.
I'm gonna find Nessie.
We will bring her home.
I've been talking for years. If I end up winning the lottery, I'm gonna spend it the stupidest way. I'm gonna find a home on Loch Ness, and the rest of the money is going into like sonar and boats and scuba equipment. Even though I hate going underwater, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
find
can see you
Nessie.
scuba
That's
diving.
how I'm gonna spend my wealth.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Chris, I really hope for everyone's sake that you win the lottery.
I hope I win the lottery.
I hope you win it so that you can go find Nessie and prove that Nessie exists.
You with that much adult money is terrifying.
I'm known for egging people on to make.
We would have taxidermy raccoons in sequins dancing on a pole. I mean, you don't
That sounds cool
understand
too, though.
the things that would happen with this man and money. So
I'm still all about it though, Kelly.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
still all about it.
you're
Yeah,
supposed
see,
to
you're
have
not the be all end all.
We have a friend actually that bought some sort of a taxidermy. I think it was a squirrel.
No, it was a raccoon
Was
with
it
a
a raccoon?
guitar. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and she's like, look, and Chris is like, I'm like, oh god.
You're like,
She's
oh
they had
no.
another
If
one.
I was allowed to design the house, it would look a whole lot different.
When we win the lottery, you'll have a room all to yourself that you
Have a
can
house
visit
all to
all by
myself.
yourself all the time.
It'll be on Loch Ness, and we're gonna find Nessie.
It'll be a lot. Oh, you guys, you guys are super interesting. I just want to say that. I really do think you have so many stories that I think that, and I know you guys do a lot of events during the year and that kind of stuff. I am supposed to ask you though, from the chat, by the way, I'll ask it now so I don't forget, if you're going to be back at Missouri Paracon in 2026.
That's the plan.
Okay.
That feels like a
Alright.
Christy Porter question. Was that Christy Porter?
No,
No.
that's my good friend JD actually from
Oh,
Showing with-
Showing with the
Hey,
Spirits. Oh
JD.
yeah.
Yeah, they're good friends of ours over at Darkwood, so they like to
Yeah.
pop on our lives.
Yeah.
So
No,
they're watching tonight.
we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll
Yes.
definitely be back there and plan on
That's a good time. Yeah.
trying to think what all we are already signed up. Our 26 is already filling up, so
Like you'll have a free date in April already.
yeah.
Like,
crazy.
A free
that's
date
what-
like on the weekends. Our 9 to 5 still takes precedent during the week, but
That's unfortunate.
Something's got to pay the bills. so.
I can't hate on mine too much. So 9 to 5, I'm a brewer.
Oh,
Thus, all the stops at breweries when we're
Yeah.
out traveling. So.
So like
Okay,
I don't
that's
I
pretty
I
cool.
have zero room for complaints. On the weekdays I'm doing what I like, and on the weekends I'm doing what I love. So it's all good.
well, that's amazing. That's a pretty good way
If
to
I
do
have to work, I don't hate my job, and it pays really well. So
And that's the important part because brewing does not.
it.
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, we have to have our day jobs to pay for our paranormal
For our night
love
jobs.
that we have.
Oh yeah.
For our day jobs. Honestly, I'm like, I might have to start working more just to pay for the trips that I want to take, but it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
you've seen us at Paracons before, so we always kind of have the two tables out and we kid with people that this is what we do and this is how we pay for it. So
Yeah. 'Cause anybody who hasn't had the pleasure of seeing us out in the world, it's like one table is like computer and TV monitors with like our YouTube episodes playing, and a stack of books over here, and then over here it's like all the equipment we sell on our public ghost hunts and pins, and
yeah.
Kelly makes some beautiful bracelets.
Yeah,
Well, but
it's not an inexpensive hobby by any means.
Hobby doesn't feel like the right
It
word at
isn't
this
the
point,
right
I
word.
right?
hate
But-
that. I actually hate that when people say, like that this podcast is a hobby, and I'm like, no, I
You don't
don't love that.
understand the work that goes into
Yeah,
it,
it
guys.
shouldn't
Like,
take
come
more
on.
time than your 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
It can still be a
It
hobby.
takes so much time. And then, you guys are content creators to edit. That is the thing that takes the time.
Oh
Now
my
it's like
God.
you've got to go through all of the evidence that you just hopefully caught, but it is like grueling just sitting and watching a blank screen or a screen where you have just a
Where it's
camera.
not moving. It's a static
just
camera. It
static.
hasn't moved.
But the thing is, it's like you don't want to go, okay, well, that's just an hour of nothing because you might have caught something. So you have to
Oh,
sit
yeah.
and watch this hour of nothing.
And it's such a catch-22 because you don't want to miss anything. So you put out extra cameras to make sure that you don't miss anything. But now you have 10 static cams,
Running for
With
8 hours.
8 hours, 10
Fucking
hours,
hours.
12 hours each that you have to review all of those.
You have to
That's a
Which becomes
lot
80
of
to
hours.
120 hours of like,
That's not counting the handhelds, the digital recorders, the photos. That's just boring static cams.
Yeah.
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 But if
So-
you don't, you miss it. So
When people say it's a hobby, you're right, Chris. I mean, we're literally sometimes doing a little bit more.
yeah,
Should be getting paid a little bit more, but no.
yeah,
I think
okay.
there's a joy in it, There's definitely,
oh yeah, love what you do and never work another day in your life.
Well, like we've had some amazing opportunities. Like we've been in buildings that other people don't get to go in.
yeah.
Actually, shout out to JD for asking us to come along.
Oh yeah,
I got to invest my first Masonic Lodge
That was super fun.
earlier this year, and that was like one of the highlights of my year.
that was super
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
and like the cave,
Yeah,
we get to do. Go
yeah.
ahead.
We get to a. I don't really condone the whole like. You get some teams that are like, oh, we've got
The gatekeep.
this whole area, and we get to say who comes and goes, and
Yeah.
I think that starts with good intentions, but eventually it just always ends up to
Becomes a
gatekeeping.
power
It
thing.
doesn't matter who you are. But for good or for ill, there's a location in Northeast Iowa that we get the privilege to be the only people that get to show other people this location. And it's not because we don't want to let other people in; it's because they can't. So
I couldn't even do it by myself. The Traveler's Moon could not do this if Chris wasn't there.
So up in Northeast Iowa, McGregor specifically, there's a place called Spook Cave, which already has kind of a spooky name,
Yeah.
like an ominous name to it. But the name actually came from the like 1920s when people would picnic in the area. And at the bottom of this bluff, and for anybody who hasn't spent any real time in the driftless region of Northeast Iowa, Southeast Minnesota, Wisconsin, definitely do it because it's one of the most gorgeous areas
so
in the
pretty.
country. But there was this hole at the base of a bluff, and the locals would call it Spook Hole because they heard spooky noises coming out of it.
It was just the water trickling
Yeah.
through it, and
Uh,
because there's a spring inside.
I was gonna say, fast forward to 1953, a local man and self-proclaimed demolitions expert, which
Those
is
words
the
he never gets
wildest
through 'em
string
without
of
laughing.
words I've ever put together. He was Gerald Milky. Was like, "Hey, you got some weird sounds come out of your bluff. Can I blow a hole in it?"
Right? I mean, okay,
And
sure.
the property owners were like, "Yes, absolutely," and that might be just as insane.
This is amazing.
We're not sure which is weirder.
But found this enormous cave on the inside, and the cave on the back does have a natural spring in it, which naturally floods the cave. So if we look back on it, what the locals were hearing were most likely the sounds of water flowing over rocks and stuff inside the cave. But in recent years, since 2019, myself and then Kelly and myself, the after year, started hosting the Spook Cave ghost hunts because there's all these weird stories that like nobody really talked about coming out of the cave. And I mean, if you look at like anthropologically, like there's people all over the world that look at cave as thin spots between us and the spirit world, and maybe that's the contributing factor. The spirits we interact with in there, they say this like because it's quiet, but
It's limestone, it holds in that energy, it has flowing
Mm.
water, which creates energy. I
If
mean,
you were
it's
to
like the
build-
perfect,
a haunted location
Mm.
from the ground up.
yeah.
That's it. That's
And
it
not
right
to mention,
there.
it's got some weird like land history, like a town that it was trying to be built there for
More than once.
more than once was washed away by flash floods. A few dozen people died on the property. Um, but getting back to like the original point was like we have the opportunity to take people in here because it to this day because of the natural spring in the back is flooded all the time. So the only way to get into this cave is by boat. And for in the least homeless way possible for 5 years, I lived in a camper. Um, she pulled me out of the woods. She house trained me, but I still got this
It
cool
took a
life
while.
experience of living in the campground during the winter time. I go somewhere much warmer,
Yeah,
which was
I still hear
fantastic.
about that every winter.
But uh, traversing the cave is very, I wouldn't say super difficult, but
It's not
it's still a
easy.
living cave. So
That's
there's a
the thing.
conservation aspect in
Yeah.
mind. So you may be able to drive a cave in there, but to drive the cave in with avoiding, touching the right
There's
sets of
stalactites and
formations.
stalagmites, and I mean, if something
Yeah.
as simple as, yeah, like you said, you touch the wall in the wrong spot, you've just killed that spot in the cave.
Which might have
Yeah.
been growing
Yeah.
for thousands of years.
Yeah, thousands, like some of these stalactites are feet long, which, just, they've been going forever, so that's why I'm saying, like, if we ever had a night that Chris couldn't do it, I'm sorry, we're done, Kelly can't do this, cause I
But
don't
that being
have
said, super haunted, weirdly enough.
He used to tell me all the time when he'd be doing the tours when he was living at the campground, he's like, Kelly, they were really talkative in the cave today. And I'm thinking he'd be in the cave and he'd hear like a word or two.
Sure.
That's not how this works.
And it plays on multiple ideas. And don't be wrong, this place has also developed like stories over the years of shadow figures,
Of
not
course.
just producing themselves in like low light circumstances from other tour guides, but also we had a situation where like one presented themselves in a laser grid.
Yeah.
And then we had going down a certain length of the cave.
The coolest experience though, were you gonna share that? Sorry.
Which one?
The boat when you were telling
Oh
me.
no, I wasn't going to. I was gonna say I think we play a lot with we think of ITC today, instrumental transcommunication, the spirit box and stuff we utilize, and think it just requires radio signals and sound boxes full of phone names. When some of the original applications of this concept were with the sounds of running water, and the cave itself provides that in such an abundance. And sometimes I'm like in the spirit of transparency, it does get difficult to be like, oh, that was a cave sound, but that doesn't belong there. As somebody who's been in the
Yeah.
cave well over 1,000 times, I get to say that with confidence. I can say it with my full chest, but everybody else
Right.
almost has to take my word for it. But like we hear full conversations.
Yeah, like there's no doubt, that was a woman
In the
that
back
just
of
was
the cave.
talking. You may not
Wow.
understand exactly what they're saying, but you can hear a woman's voice, you can hear the man's voice, you can hear the drunk man's voice, like, there's somebody in the back of the cave,
Yeah, it kind of sounds like Sloth from the Goonies.
yeah, kinda.
But
Oh,
it,
sure.
it doesn't
Yeah.
totally fit in like the cave settings, but
But we've had like some phenomenal experiences on these investigations. There was one point so it's a spring water, so the water is flowing. There's a flow to the water. If you let go of the boat, you're gonna float downstream, right?
Mhm.
We were at the back of the cave at the stop point, and he'd let go of the bar for I don't know what reason, but he'd let go of the bar because you can for a little bit before you float too far. There's a couple different bars to grab onto. And he goes to reach for the bar again, and he can't find the bar. And he's thinking we floated so far back that we're downstream.
so I'm leaning off the back of the boat, like really hoping to find something behind me.
So finally, we turn a flashlight on. We had floated upstream, about 15 feet. Upstream.
Not
Nice.
too
Yeah.
shortly after asking, "Hey, can you
Can you
move the
move the
boat
boat?"
for us?"
And we thought, like, move the boat.
Like they pulled
like,
us further in, and it wasn't quite 15 feet. It was probably more like 7-ish. 15 feet.
It was
You would,
15
15
feet's
feet. We
probably
would
a
have
lot.
dried out.
It seemed like a really
Um,
lot.
That
But
is
it was
great.
definitely like, there's no reason we should be upstream.
But we
No.
also had, and we had
That's
another
crazy.
experience there where the first year that we did it
They actually
together.
rocked it.
Well, they've rocked it multiple times too, but no, I'm thinking when we took the cave babies in, so like the first year that we did it together, the camp
For the reference,
owners-
back in the day when I was a manager up there, the tour guides I would call my cave babies because there was a lot of like high schooler kids as like
Okay.
summer job, and I was significantly older, so I'm like, oh, these are just my cave babies.
for an extra giggle when we're up there for the weekend, he's the caveman. Um, but we're at the back, and so they'd asked us to do one tour with just the people who work at the campground, or who work at the cave, take them in. And so we had a boat full of people who are completely familiar with being in the cave, being in the boat. It's not something that's uncomfortable to them. And the way that it works is Chris is sitting at the front of the boat looking back at all the people sitting in the boat typically. And there's 3 rows at that time. I can't remember if that was the old boat.
No, it's a new boat, so
But in the very back row, he's got one of the people standing up, which even though it's shallow and it's pretty safe, even if you go in the water, that's a no-go. Sit down. And we're
Right.
like, they're so used to being in the cave, they're screwing around. And he's like, I need whoever's in the back to sit down. And they're like, huh? And they're like, whoever's standing up in the back row in the middle, sit down. And they're like, there's only 2 of us in the back and we're both sitting.
so naturally I flipped on like to
Interesting.
confirm, and that was definitely the case.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
like, and I guess then after, was it afterwards or did you know about this? I don't remember. But like, I guess there's other stories of
Oh,
people
yeah,
seeing
I knew
people
about this way
standing in the
beforehand.
boat. So yeah, but crazy cool.
Wow. I feel like I need to go visit this place now.
Oh, it's so
You
much
should.
fun.
So
we
I need you
have-
guys
we have
to take
events
class.
October
Yeah.
4th. October 4th, that's the weekend. Come and join us.
I can't.
Aw.
Another
Well,
one of
next
those
year,
side
because honestly,
gigs that
this
takes
year
us.
this year is pretty much booked up. I think we've got a couple
Couple
of
on
spots left,
Sunday.
but like the new owner's been
Oh, they're so cool.
so great to us. So like this will
Good.
probably be something that happens in 2026 too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
Yeah. Good people. Yeah, and this year we're adding an extra little thing that's gonna be fun. So like Friday night, we're gonna be doing ghost stories around the fire.
I
So
love that.
we're just gonna open up.
and it's
for
gonna be
you, the
it's gonna be
public.
this really.
Yeah,
It's-
just come in, talk. We're gonna share stories, experiences, things that it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we love that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. So we're over an hour now, but
Oh
I
goodness.
I know. I feel like you guys have like I said before, I think that you guys have so many stories. You're very, very interesting people. I could listen to you guys talk all day, I think. And I think there are people out here who do love to watch you guys talk. I know that you guys do a lot of events, like I said before. But I know you have a ton of stuff coming up with the rest of the year and probably 2026. So if you could just give everybody like some things that you're doing, what's coming up for Traveler's Moon, and then after that, where people can find you if they're interested. Again, the shout out on the book, but
Yes.
yeah,
What happened in Lancaster? So Rapid Fire Edition. This upcoming weekend, we will be traveling indefinitely, probably something cryptid related, and that'll be the weekend of September the 6th, September the 13th.
Well,
That
first we head
weekend-
to ISS Con at Billy Creek.
Oh
That's
wow,
this
I'm way
coming
behind.
weekend.
Yeah,
We
so
leave tomorrow.
we leave tomorrow.
Keep up, dude.
No.
We leave tomorrow
Tomorrow.
to go
Very
to
important.
Adam Kimmel event at the Billy Creek Village and Indiana State Sanitarium.
But it's actually going to be at
We'll
Billy
be at
Creek
Billy
Village.
Creek, yeah. So, which is a cool little ghost town, guys. If
The
you've
most-
never been,
Another
oh my
one that
God.
can't make it scary. It's a charming little
It's this
town.
little ghost town. I told him I wanted a ghost town, and he got me one for Christmas. It was
I
the
love that.
best. So ISS Con is this weekend, and then we're gonna do the
Some
bike trip. We
cryptid
do
motorcycle
something
trip.
cryptid.
Weekend off for this lovely lady's birthday. After that is one of the expos that
Yep,
she
we'll
hosts.
be at the Ames Psychic and Paranormal Expo.
October the 4th is the Spook Cave event. After that, we got a big old Colorado week
Which we will be
coming up.
wrapping some haunted stuff into, of course.
We'll be staying at the Stanley Hotel. I'll say it.
Yes, we're staying at
Oh,
the
I
Stanley.
love
I
that.
think we're gonna try to get into a prison out there too.
Yes,
aren't
there's a
Okay.
prison, potential old gold mine. She's not gonna let me go into it. It's one
we
of
can
my
look
buddy.
in the beginning of it and we'll make a sound decision at that point, but his friend owns a gold mine and I love the friend, he's a good guy, but like, it's an abandoned gold mine that hasn't been kept up and he's like, oh, you can go in.
The danger.
We're gonna take
Mhm.
a look, yeah.
We're in a very historic town in Nauvoo, Illinois, the weekend of the 25th. Halloween weekend. It's nothing
Yeah.
official on the Traveler's Moon page, but expect a massive live stream and a public investigation at one of the most haunted locations said to be in the Midwest.
You're just gonna leave them dangling. You're not gonna tell them where.
Yeah, it's like a cliffhanger.
It's Edinburgh Manor.
Yeah.
Thanks for not leaving it as a
Cindy
cliffhanger.
was very good to us. She gave us Halloween weekend.
But yeah, that's like just the next couple of months. It's not even bringing us into like our November dates just yet. But you can find what we're doing anywhere online at Traveler's Moon Para is the handle for all of our social media handles. Our website is www.travelersmoonpara.com because there's a crystal shop out in North Carolina that is also called Traveler's Moon, and
I
they
found
snagged
that,
some
yeah.
shit from us.
Yeah. And again, the book is called What Happened in Lancaster. That is everything that we experienced that night out at Fairfield. That, I mean, even the stuff that we've told you, we just brushed the surface of the
Yeah.
crap that we experienced that night.
And keep an eye on the YouTube channel because that video will probably be out within the next month.
That's the plan.
Cool.
That's the plan. We'll
Cool.
They'll hold us to that, but
yeah.
there's some post-edit stuff that still needs to go down, and we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. I was gonna say, I don't, like I said before, I don't read books, but I feel like I might have to start now. So thanks for that.
This one's a pretty easy read if that helps.
It's actually a
you.
pretty non-lengthy book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But now I need to know. I really need to know what happened. So, all right.
It was crazy. It was,
Well,
it was
now
crazy.
I'm fully invested, and I think that everyone out there should be as well. You guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Again, sad that Gabriel couldn't be here, but that again maybe
Yeah.
just means that we have to do this with the four of us.
That would be horrible.
Terrible.
Terrible.
So
I look forward to seeing you guys at one of the many cons in the next year, hopefully, and
yeah.
maybe,
me too.
hopefully, doing some collabing with you. If
That'd be
we
fantastic.
find a place to investigate together, I would love to work with you. You guys are just super interesting, like I said, and very knowledgeable in what you do. And I think that you would be a fantastic team to work with.
Thank you for that.
I just wanted to say
We
that.
try. We have fun.
Well, that's good, and I think that's important too. Just being able to be there and have fun and have a new experience. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Thanks to everybody out there who was watching, who was commenting out in the little chat box as well. JD's been very active, so hi to JD
We
again.
appreciate that. Good. Say hi,
We
Jane.
gotta love our JD. And for Darkwoods Paranormal, as always, you can find Darkwoods Paranormal on all the socials as well. We will be back live on Sunday with our true crime. We're gonna do a little true crime. I don't know what we're covering just yet, but Sunday
It's
some
a
true
secret,
crime.
That's all.
It's a secret. It's just this is the way I operate. Is really what it is. Kelly. I told Gabriel I might just draw something from a hat, and that's what we're doing. 'Cause I'm one of those kinds of people. He's very type A, I'm very type B, which is why I think we get along. So yeah, I mean, I think that you have to have that in the
I think we
team, right?
flip-flop, depending on what it is.
Depending on
I'm
what
the
it
one
is, I
who's
suppose.
like, let's climb this haunted staircase. Like, that's me.
And
I'm
I'm like, do
I
you
feel
have your PPE on? You know, yeah. yeah.
yeah.
Let me wander into this abandoned gold mine, and I'm like, I'm gonna tie a rope around your waist so I can pull you out when it collapses.
I'm the one who's like messaged, we have a little group chat, and I messaged the group chat on Saturday morning. I'm like, I decided I'm going on an adventure and went to Michigan by myself. Well, I ended up meeting with another group and two other groups, paranormal groups, to investigate a place. But that was spur of the moment Saturday this last week. Kind of went, why not? Why not do that?
Yeah.
Why not? Because sometimes they send you across great big scary bridges that fell down underneath you when you decide all of a sudden to spontaneously go someplace. I don't know, we,
I don't even think that was about me, but you were very much projecting right there.
that was you. You forgot to tell me I was gonna have to cross the bridge.
Oh, is that Point Pleasant?
Yes.
Yeah, we went looking for Mothman. I forgot to tell her she was going over the bridge.
Not just the bridge, not just.
The bridge. I said
I
the
don't
bridge.
like bridges. Bridges are a huge phobia of mine. Yeah, not just that we had to cross a bridge, it was the bridge.
No, it's the Memorial
the
Bridge,
No,
and that's
no, it was-
important.
it was-
It's the Memorial Bridge.
Same.
The other one fell
Mothman was
down.
there. Mothman was there. Kelly.
Anyways,
Anyway, thank you guys so much, though. Thanks for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate that you were
Thanks for
here.
having
and-
us.
Thanks for having us. This was
and
fun.
let's do this again. I think you
Yeah.
guys are super interesting. So. Well, all right. Thanks everybody, and thanks to Travelers Moon. Check them out on all their socials. And I'm gonna say, have a great night.